Hello everyone. This is an important video because just demonstrating the techniques that I have. I'm trying to squeeze a prediction with very limited information, like always. There's a fight coming up between Jake Paul and Anderson Silva on the 29th of this month, 29th of October. So I have a few techniques that I'm going to be working with. I'm going to be using the rectified time of Jake Paul, rectified by myself, and I'll show you how I did the rectification and how the prediction goes and everything. So first off, let's look at an event that takes place here. Jake Paul versus, excuse me, it's Logan Paul versus KSI. It's a pretty old event. Happened in the 9th of November 2019. Logan Paul had a fight with KSI. And here I have direct transits for the event. You can't see any determining. Well, you can if you know what you're looking at. Now, I've studied these kind of transits a bit in trying to predict winners of fights, and the most decisive aspects that I've seen were squares to the sun. For example, this Saturn square sun very well justifies the event. This is a direct transit, but we can't depend only on one technique, and especially transits. We need primary and secondary directions. These should give us the best results, especially if we have the conception horoscope rectified. But yes, this square here from Saturn to the Sun, the square from Pluto to the Moon, they count a lot in a defeat. But a much clearer in converse transits is the opposition here of Saturn to the midheaven. Even here, the conjunction of Neptune with the midheaven. See this Saturn-Neptune opposition that locks here? It's very important. Just like we're predicting for a stock, like we're predicting an earnings report for a stock, if it's going to go up or down, these are very decisive. But we really need to use primary and secondary directions, because this technique can be faulty at times. Okay, so for the date of the event, now I don't have the conception horoscope of Mr. Jake Paul, but nor do I have a time for Anderson Silva, but I'm pretty sure I can. I'm pretty sure I have enough information to give a prediction. Now this is the rectified time of Jake Paul by me. And it's only 52 seconds ahead of the recorded time. Now I won't get into this, but there is one event here. I won't get very deep into this, but see when he leaves Erica Costello, I think her last name is. Look at this Pluto. Pluto moves from here to here. And it justifies the event very well. So among other things here, the divorce of his parents and the birth of his brother, this is the time that I chose. And if we just look at the primary and secondary directions for the date of the event, which is this. Okay, in primaries there is nothing troubling, only this square from Neptune to Mars. But at this point, it's not. There isn't much negative weight here. If it was a square, if I saw a square from Saturn to the Sun, or Mars to the Sun, Sun square Pluto maybe, then I would be very concerned. But seeing these and seeing how the midheaven moves to the midheaven moves from here this midheaven moves from here to a conjunction with Mercury, which is it's neutral, but in the light of these directions that I'm going to analyze for you, we can consider it as very positive. Now we have one main direction here, which is this conjunction here. On top of that, not many negative conjunctions, not many negative directions appear that indicate a defeat. So we have that on our side, and if we cast just transits for the date of the event, well, we have Jupiter in a very tight sextile with the midheaven. Look, the problematic transit here is this Pluto here right on top of the midheaven. I still remember in studying the horoscope of Conor McGregor, he had a very long win streak, and when Pluto was here, it produced his first loss. But of course there were other supporting directions, but in this case I don't think it's going to produce his first loss, because he has a sextile here. Look, this Jupiter also sextiles the 3 planets here. Excuse me, the 4 planets and the midheaven. So if we look at converse transits, again there's a sextile from Jupiter to the midheaven. We can see here the Saturn here on the ascendant. I don't think it's enough to produce a loss. If it was here on the IC opposing the midheaven, then for sure it's a very concerning factor. Even this square here to the ascendant, not very interesting to me. I still think Jake Paul is has very high chances of winning. Now let's look here at this Anderson Silva. Now the main thing that caught my eye here, he's already on a losing streak, mainly because of this Pluto square to his sun. But if we look at his converse transits here, look at, there's a square from Saturn to his Mars. Neptune opposes Mars. So this is a very negative combination to have lock in. And one more extra thing that caught my eye, if we look at midpoints here, it's something very revealing. The sun comes to the midpoint of Mars and Saturn. I mean, what more do you want for a defeat? Even though we don't have the exact birth time of Anderson, I don't think he's a winner here. This horoscope of Jake Paul is very strong, although at the level of health, this opposition here between Mars and Saturn in bad cosmic conditions indicate very clearly the weakness in the head and the damage to the brain that he receives from the punches in his sport. On another hand, it also indicates his deep work activity in isolation, his deep training for the fights, and his rigorous daily routine. This very tight opposition here, but also weakness in the area of the bones and skin. Sometimes chronic diseases appear. Even though it receives sextiles here, still it's not favorable to have at the level of health. But look his there's a trine here from the sun to the ascendant, and this rising sign is very strong and solid and very resistant Taurus rising, very strong. Even the Capricorn, but the bones, 5 planets in Capricorn and Saturn on top here. With this is very bad for the skin, bones, for the head, even for the lungs and the respiratory system. And thank God these 2 planets don't hit Venus, because it would have caused him a lot of trouble in his kidneys. So this is it for this prediction. I hope you enjoyed it. In my opinion, Jake Paul is going to win. And with this horoscope, could it be possible that he goes undefeated in his boxing career? We'll have to see, but it's very, very strong.